broadcast of meetings in the communities. Hello. It's the bottom line. On radio. On Red Power FM. This on the radio. On the radio. From 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Join the team of panelists to include Paul Chopley, Linfo Egon Gwe, Mark Kayit Far, and Jamel Kamara on the bottom line. Yes, it's the bottom line only on Red Power FM.
Tune to the bottom line Liberia 24/7.
This is Bottom Line Liberia.
Happy good evening and welcome again to another edition of the program, The Bottom Line. This program brings you information about Liberia and Liberians. And of course, during this political season, we're going to be paying a lot of attention to the political unveilings in Liberia and give our opinions and discuss the issue. Tonight, we're going to have very interesting discussions, and we have also interesting panelists here in the studio tonight. We have Mr. Jamel Kamara, Mark Farr, and our anchorman Moses Colley, who is at the Red Power FM studio right now, bringing you the program live, and myself, Linford Goa, and together we'll be discussing the issue. But let me say officially welcome to you, gentlemen, and how have you been doing? Let me start with Mark. Because they say you can't forget your own family. We are in the Scandinavia, so we'll care for each other. How have you been doing, Mark? How was the weekend, and so forth?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Had a wonderful weekend. It's been raining here and there in Sweden or in Scandinavia, for that matter, and back to business as usual. The week started, Sunday, but working days from Monday, so had a day off today. And hope you guys are doing great from your different locations.
Great. And Chima, you are further down. We are in the north. You are further down. Do you have rain, or what is the weather like?
Well, guys, thank you very much for having me. I bring you greeting from the city of Manchester, United Kingdom. We're doing great here. It's been kind of cool. We've been hearing that there's a massive heat wave across Europe. We have not experienced that yet. I've actually been cool and calm in Manchester, and I think one good thing we are praying for, football season is starting, which football is a religion in this part of the world, and we're trying to observe that. So this so far so good from weather level. We're doing okay. Thank God today is Tuesday. I think we can see how the week goes.
Okay, and Moses, you are in motherland Liberia, and you are making it possible for our listeners across the country to listen to this program, and we want to say thank you very much for the facility, for offering the facility. And of course, we want to welcome our listeners in Radio Land. And for those of you who will be viewing, we want to also say welcome. For those of you who will be viewing, please help us to share the show. And if you are listening by radio, invite your friend passing around, say, look, listen, come and sit and let's listen to these guys. But Moses, tell us a bit about the weather. We've been hearing about flood, and usually in Liberia at this time of the year we have torrential rain falling. How is the weather now?
Well, as I speak to you, we have a little bit of rain in some parts of Monrovia and outside Monrovia as well. We are in the rainy season, but for the last 3-4 days, the rain has been very serious. But for today, it's a kind of light rain, not too heavy in Monrovia and its surrounding. But the issue of flood is a normal thing. Yes, the rivers are all overflowing at about this time of the year in Liberia. That is for sure. In Virginia Township, where the radio station is located, on Sunday of the week, there was a situation of drowning on a beach called Diamond Beach, just around the Hotel Africa. And that's the saddest news we have here relating to issue of the rainy season and the flood and whatsoever. We got
Was
one
this
person drowning
was this
from a
drowning?
beach.
Was this drowning a result of the flood, or was it like swimming?
Um, the drowning from the investigation was as a result of somebody going to swim, but the water being aggressive. You know, when the rain is heavy and the water level increases. So at that point, it is safe to say that the water was not at the normal level.
Okay, but we also had news that the Brownsville Road was cut off last week. How is the situation now?
Yes, thanks to the government through the Ministry of Public Works and a construction company called SSF, they have been maintaining the road from Douala to Tottenham. You know, the Western region has this company called the Western Cluster. They are the ones mining the ore that was left by the old LMC. If you remember the LMC days, when we used to hear about Bummy Hills, right?
Mhm.
So the Western Cluster is mining iron ore by truck, and the trucks are using the route from Tottenham to Morovia through Douala, which is very, very risky for the people, especially the densely populated Bourgeois Island. But again, this is done against the advice of the legislature. Several lawmakers frown on this, but it appears that the government and the company decided to be stubborn on this one. So the road was cut, yes, and because of the urgency of the iron ore being transported to Morovia at the free port, the company and the Public Works Ministry intensified their work. They have replaced the covers, and the road is now accessible. Cars are now using the road.
Okay, that's good. Let's go into the program, guys. Everyone will have a minute to give his opening statement. Um, Jima, we want to start with you.
Before,
What is
before I,
what?
we,
Yeah.
we, we
Moses,
have a
go ahead.
sad news in Liberia.
What is
We
that?
have a sad news in Liberia from the 54th legislature. It
Mm.
has been confirmed that the former deputy speaker from Grand Bassa County, Honorable Hans Bashu, has passed. This is confirmed by family sources. So yes, he was seeking re-election. We are told he died this morning following a protracted illness, according to family sources. So the 54th legislature is bereaved. I can confirm also.
Okay. Just before we go to the guys who gave their opening statement, or let me just ask: was he in the race presently, currently? Did he
Yes,
declare his intention to run?
yes, he was seeking re-election as an independent candidate. Of course, you know that there's been trouble with some of the political parties here, and at the point where they have been denying some of their incumbent lawmakers. So Honorable Bashu was processing his documents to contest as an independent candidate. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. We sorry for that sad news. In the Liberian legislature. But guys, like I said, we will be giving our first opening statement. Let's start with you, Jima. What's on your mind?
Oh, well, not much. Just like I just want to say my heart out to the people of Grand Bausa for the passing of Representative Honorable Hans Bachu, who was former Speaker of the House of Representatives. When he was elected in 2011. I don't know him, but when these things happen, these are our lawmakers. We send a hearts out to the family, our hearts and minds and thoughts, prayers to the family of Honorable Bachu and to the people of Grand Bassa County. And I know he was seeking re-election. So he was elected in 2011, and he was seeking to go as an independent candidate on the ticket for 2010 October. And also, he served as my little information about him. He served from 2012 to 2018 as the deputy speaker of the House, and also served for a couple of a period when Alice J. Tyler was removed as also Speaker of the House. So he made a lot of contribution to the House and to the law of Liberia. So we say a hard out to him and to the family, and I wish him this period of this sort of period, we wish them, the family, the bereaved period, it's a great loss to the people of Basa and the great of Liberia as a whole. And our hearts are out to them, and we keep them in our thoughts and prayer.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, Lympha.
Yeah, your opening statement, or do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to say send my condolences to the bereaved family, and they should take heart in their loss. So that's what I have to say for now, and I hope we have a good show tonight without any interference with the frequency or whatsoever that we have had over the past couple of weeks. I just wish the show would continue without non-stop today.
Okay, I
It'd be
think that
very
is
disappointing.
the hope of each and every one of us. And guys, you can share the show. Moses, share the show to your various contacts. Jima, share the show. I've been sharing too, so you can share, and let's invite our friends to watch. Great. And we start tonight. We're going to have interesting discussion. What we'll be talking about is the elections elections that are coming. Elections in the sense that we'll have both legislative and presidential elections. Moses, you are on the ground. Brief us. What is the election commission saying? What have they released? We heard they have released the final list for the aspirants, that is both for the executive and the legislature. What do you know so far?
Well, it is very, very interesting. But from the election commission angle, the reports that have been released are purely provisional, not the final list. So that means the list could increase, or it could as well decrease. At the level of the presidency, we have 20 political parties or 20 presidential aspirants so far. But they are leading the leading four political parties that are in the forefront. We have the incumbent President George Weah of the Coalition for Democratic Change, and then he's been followed by the former Vice President of Liberia, Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai of the former ruling Unity Party, and then we also have Honorable Alexander Benedict Cummings of the Collaborating Political Parties, the CPP. Then we have Councillor Tiawon Gonglo of the Liberia's People's Party. And then the lone female for the presidency, her name is Madam Sarah Beslow Yanti of the African Liberation League. Of course, we have one of the oldest political parties that contested during the 1997 election against the NPP. Of course, the ACOP, we have Lucinin F. Kamara of the All Liberian Coalition Party, ACOP. Lucinin served as former finance minister in the Judy Bryant interim government era. We also have Dr. Clarence K. Monimba. Dr. Monimba comes from the Liberian National Union. It is believed that Dr. Monimba is the youngest presidential aspirant so far in the race. So yes, to name a few that are making the top of the list, these are just the few, but they are.
We sorry. We hope Moses will not be away for long. That's the internet again for you in Liberia. But guys, we just heard the reading of the briefing from Moses concerning the presidential aspirants. He mentioned that there are 20 of them so far. And he rightly indicated that the list could increase or it could decrease. It could increase for the sense that tomorrow we can hear one other party coming to come. But we understand that the registration and the nomination are closed. So I don't think that any party can register anymore. What we do know is that it can reduce. Some parties can withdraw and say, well, I'm withdrawing, we're not running again, we're going to join so group. But we'll wait to see how it plays out, and let's see if we can get Moses back. If any of you have questions right now for Moses, you can ask. And our other guest panelists is in the back right after. If anybody got question, we can bring our guest panelists on while he's getting ready.
All right, I got a question for Moses. Moses, are you hearing us from here? Moses is trying to settle in. But in any case, if you are hearing us,
yes, I'm getting you loud.
Okay, my question is, there could be a new kids on the block. What will be the youngest or the newest political party that you think that are coming on right now? Like it didn't make it. I mean, it just came from the blue. Nobody knew about it. They didn't expect of it. It would be names like, because last we know there was a party. One Cooper was the lady. I forgot her first name. She contested last election. She's now on our list. It's only Sarah is on our list at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's a definite case of women are not contesting this election. Is that a case?
Well, I know of Mandela Cooper, who contested for the presidency in the last election, but currently she's supporting the Unity Party, Joseph Boakai. In fact, she's the head of finance of the Joseph Boakai campaign team.
Right. Okay.
There is another political party by the name of Liberia's First Movement. It has a standard bearer in person of Ambassador Sheikh Al Mustafa Kuyate. You know, he contested in the senatorial election, an election that was won by Senator Sir Joseph, but he's now contesting the Liberian presidency. But so far for the presidency, we have one female. She's the retired UN official, Sarah Beslo Yanti.
Thank you, Moses.
Mark, you got any question?
Yeah, for me, I got no question. The only thing is just, so sad that a country of 5 million or close to 5 million people got more than 20 political parties, and you got talking about almost 2 dozen of presidential expiring. So it is so sad that, people can't come together to form, how do you call this, organizations that will limit the amount of political parties for everybody because of this personal greed, and some barely have chances to the presidency. So that's the only sad thing that about Liberia, even though it's everybody, constitutional right to contest the presidency, but I believe if people will come together and form more bigger organization, then that will help the country with the noise in the political arena.
Okay. Well, we're definitely into that later on. That's a good point raised. But let's bring on our next guest panelist, Mr. Francis Mensah, also from Sweden. Francis, if you hear us, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I hear you guys loud and clear. Do you guys hear me?
Right, we do. We hear you too. But we want to say welcome to you. We're discussing Liberia's politics, and we're talking about a country of 5 million people with 20 political parties. So it means that if you divide 5 or 20 by 5, you'll get 4. So each of the political parties will be having like maybe 400,000 people, if I'm not mistaken, if my math is correct. But Let's say welcome to those of you who are just joining us, or if you're coming for the first time, we say welcome. This is the bottom line. You can help us to share the show. Miata Stella Herring, you are welcome. Miata Dakina, my own Ponkanti sister, welcome. And please support to share the show. And Francis, welcome. Okay, guys, I want us to start like this. Mose has already briefed us on a number of registered presidential candidates, 20 in all. Now, why and Mark raised a very good point. So I want us to start from there and then we'll continue. But why do we think, all of us here, why do we think individually that a country of just 5 million people, not quite correct because the census result was in question, but we got 20 people wanting to be president for this one small poor country that is still lagging behind? Why? Why do we think so? What's going on?
Can I, before we continue, I just want to ask Moses
You
to
can come on.
clarify something, please. With regard to the register, those who register to vote, I think NEC released an information before we go further. How many? 2,000,000, about 2,498,000 numbers were registered as the registered preliminary figure that will be voting. That is not the invalid ballot papers. Moses, do you have that numbers ready? I mean, we want to know how many people register for NEC. NEC has confirmed that there will be voting. Do you have that numbers handy, Moses?
Yes, yes. So we have the numbers as released by the National Elections Commission following the verification, the exhibition, the deduplication, and adjudication. That's how they put it. So the total number of registered voters for the October election, we have 2,471,617 registrants. That's what we have for the October election. Out of this number, we have 1,237,257 registrants as females, and then we have 1,234,360 registrants as males. So it indicates that for these elections, the total registered voters, the females are more than the males. That's what it indicates.
Right. Thank you, Moses. Thank you very much. At least it all gave us some kind of information where we talk about in terms of why is the number of people. We are 6 million people, only 2 million people are registered so far, being announced by NEC to as a registered voters for the next for this year elections. Then it comes to my mind like we got 20 presidential aspirants. The question is, this is not the first time Liberia. I don't know what is it like we're looking for. The last past election, we got 20 candidates also on the ballot papers. Some of them did not even get a seat. I mean, win a ticket. Win a vote. So why coming up with this? This question comes to every one of us. A small of 5 million to 6 million people, 20 presidential aspirants running for a top seat. Are we not working together in terms of working in the interest of the country, or do we just want to test the water as a political aspirant? It puzzles me a lot. I think most of you on the platform today, probably you guys will take me. I mean, got me right here. What are we looking for? Are we looking for the country, or are we looking to just show off or just show voting here? Because countries are just past a couple of weeks ago. Some countries are coming over alliance, like 20 political parties coming together, form alliance, at least to form if they believe they want to fix our country. But like one good thing about that constitution that allows you 2 days to register your candidate, so you can go and register your candidates. You don't need to go anywhere. Once you show your party, you can also put your name on that ballot paper. It's a waste of resources or show voting. So it's just difficult for me to understand, guys. I don't know, but for me, it just matters. But we don't have the patriotism in us as Liberia that we want to fix that country. We all want to be in that seat. We want to show that we can fix it. And while we can believe in 1 or 2 persons that we can also put to fix our country or to make things happen for our country to just, be in line with other nations that are doing well on the continent.
So, Mark, you want to chime in, and then we can bring on Francis. You're muted, Mark.
Francis just come in, so let Francis, give his view, then I'll
Francis,
follow.
you heard the discussion. You just heard the breakdown. We got roughly 2 million people plus a little over 2 million, 2.5 million that are registered to vote. And the interesting thing is that the ladies are tapping the list of the 2 million. Okay. But the question is, a small country like Liberia, I say small poor country, but Miata Sterling is in that I should not say small poor country. We're not poor. But a country of 4-5 million people, then you got 20 candidates running. What is the problem here? Why like Jamal asked, are we just wanting to show up, or is there anything that we want to achieve? What is it? Oh, Francis, you are not muted, but we don't hear you. Oh, you stay. We're still not hearing you. We're still not hearing you. What, did anybody hear Francis? If not, then we...
No, we are not hearing Francis, but let me just come in, as I said before in some private discussion with some friends, right? Liberia has missed the mark from what we call this intervention forces, meaning the international community, thanks to the effort, the ECOWAS, thanks to the effort to that brought peace to Liberia. But we missed the mark here in restructuring the country. So, for example, I'll give you an example of Japan after the World War II. The international community were in Japan, but America was at the head of the rim in leading Japan towards a prosperous nation that Japan has become today. And the Japanese, they embraced the American idea alone. I think it was one General Mark, I'm forgetting the after name, but he was the head of the American and the international community in Japan. And they've all played along with the recommendation of the international community and what the Japanese wanted. But in the case of Liberia, that was not the case. The international community, sometimes when you say things, then people say, oh, but the country is a sovereign nation. Yeah, we agree Liberia is a sovereign nation, but I believe that some sort of investigate to every problem, there's a root cause to every problem. And some of these same people that, most of them today, they are not active, okay, but most of the stockholders in the Liberian conflict were left to participate in politics again, that led Liberia to where it is today. The greediness, the fighting of this one presidency. And some of these people, you gave them even the governorship in their counties. They can't even turn their counties around to be productive or to be successful. So these are things that I think it's about time that the next legislature come together and put together some sort of a law that we required in order for a political party to be, accepted or recognized. That's my own personal opinion, right? At least you should have no less than 100,000 or 200,000 registered, consistent. I don't know how that's going to work, but they should come up with some sort of a requirement or laws that will help to limit the amount of political parties. When it comes to governorship or, one or two, like city mayor or something, okay, those areas you can have no limit. But when it comes to the presidency, somebody with a few thousands of dollars from Europe get to Liberia and you organize a political party, the next thing he want to contest for presidency. But what has the man done before in his life? What has he accomplished that he want to take on a whole nation? So these things have to be addressed. And like what says Miata said, yeah, no African country is poor. But how we manage the revenue from our resources is what make us to be poor.
Okay, I mean, I agree with your point. That there should be some regulatory measures put into place, because not every Tom, Dick, and Harry will just want to get up and want to be president. See, and if the legislature can enact a law, but then again, it has to come from the citizens. We, the citizens, are the ones who send the legislatures, so we can tell them to go and make the amends to amend the constitution. And also, I personally believe that there should be a constitutional provision that will limit the number of parties that we can have. You can't just have everybody, the thing just open to everybody. It's like no law, no nothing. But let's go to Francis. We were just about to hear from him when we couldn't get audio. Francis, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you very loud and clear. But the question is, what do we want? That me and Francis can go tomorrow, we organize party, Mark and Chima can go tomorrow and organize party. Everybody just going all over the place. Like Mark said, you come, you hustle in Europe or America, you get small amount of money. Instead of investing it into different things, you go from political party, the next thing we see, you are running.
Yeah, I think that I will look at it from two perspectives. First of all, is people trying to use the government as a way of getting into political positions. And the second aspect is using the government resources, the largesse of the government, the people, to enrich themselves. Because according to elections law, if you participated in the last elections and you do not accrue 2%, you are not eligible to run again. So I've seen some parties that participated in elections, the last elections, they are still there contesting. So what happened to the implementation of the laws? Do we just have these laws on the book and without implementing it, without enforcing it? And the proliferation of political parties, I mean, it's a joke. I think some of the candidates do not have the political will and the know-how to run the country. I think what we should be doing as a country and people, as you stated earlier, we need some legislation in terms of minimizing these mushrooming of political parties. Although people must say that these people, they are the fundamental rights to contest any position, but again, it's laughable. What can 22 political parties provide? First and foremost, these political parties are not institutional. That's a problem we have in Liberian politics. When you institutionalize these political parties, they will tend to grow. They will tend to have resources, go out and source resources, but they're not institutionalized. They're just going to register and people come in, one person, two persons say, look, this is my political party, and we are contesting. So I think it's wrong. It's laughable for a country of like Liberia, who have been around for 100, I don't know, some more years.
Okay.
So it's just sheer greed. I would just simplify it to be just sheer greed.
Okay, yeah, but you also said something that I want us to look at. You mentioned that if there is legislation or there is law that we should limit the number of political parties, people will say it is our right. I believe that if the country, the entire country, if we go for a referendum, everybody agree to it, that the number of political parties at least maximum should be 6 to give you a balance of equal division, and then it's passed into law by the legislature. Nobody, I don't think anybody will come out and say they violated that right, because by that time it will be, because right now as it stands, the constitution is mute on the number of people that can register. The constitution does not say, okay, 10 people should register, it just leave it open. So then people are exercising that right. But if we all as a country go on a referendum and say, well, we say maximum 6, people will agree to it. Nobody will say that right is violated, because we have, that's just my view. We, the country, have agreed to it. So I don't know how you guys look at that.
Can I come in quickly on that? You
Yeah,
see,
so
what we do in this place here is like you cannot limit the formation of political parties or the candidacy of an aspirancy of somebody, an aspiration of somebody, because you can't do that if you don't have some laws in place.
yeah, but we are
Well,
saying that the
I'm
law
coming.
should
I'm
come.
coming. I'm coming
Mhm.
now. Mr. Mentor just said there may be a law. Probably there was some kind of law. It was some proposal made, but I don't think it was enacted as a law. If there's a law by now, it should be functional. I believe that if there's a law, it was enacted as a law and agreed upon, it should be functional by now because Liberians are very, very keen on that. They will make sure that these laws are acted upon. But I will suggest something here with regard to the formation of these political parties. Where we live in the West, you have the right to form political parties if you want. But the thing, there's are conditions attached to it. Because these various states sponsor these political parties. They got funds for them. They got budget for them. You should be able to raise some amount of money that you can able to operational cost. There are some rules that attach to these political parties or the candidacy. If you want to apply or you want to run for certain positions in the country, these are the guidelines. If you meet up these guidelines, you're allowed to these funding, you're allowed to these costs, to these resources. If these laws are put in place, because the government is involved, the state is involved funding these political parties, the aspiration of these Liberians that want to run, those visionaries, then it becomes serious. But as long as the government is now funding the political parties, putting resources, the taxpayer money are not going to the political parties, you can do anything they want to do. This is why they don't have control over them. These real party, it can come over as a political party, like my brother Francis said, institutionalize it. Like what happened in Africa, we have seen around, political party is just around one person. If the person is not there anymore, the party does not exist anymore. A few do exist as an institution. We saw for a long period, we grew up seeing a party like Liberian, the Sierra Congo party has been around a long time when I was a kid. These are parties that have been around. Two-way party, one a party that was around for a long time. Okay, UPP was a party that was around as an institution. But people like the late Bacchus Mafia, may so rest in peace, pass. Where's the party? So these parties keep going. Once it become an institution, generation for generation keep taking on. But the government has to come in with some regulations and funding and make it a serious case. You cannot say regulate, let's have referendum and have a regulate limit the number of political parties formation. We don't have rules in place. It's not going to work because you're not funding them, you're not helping them. I will just give an example right here today. What happened here? There was a guy on the BBC, one renowned journalist was involved in some kind of uh, scandal in terms of a young 18, 17-year-old girl was sending her picture to him. He's an older man, very well powerful guy on the radio, on the television, BBC. You know, BBC is being funded by the people. We pay every month. We pay up to €20 for license, TV license. So every household in the UK pay for TV license. So BBC does not carry any adverts. It's being paid by the household. So people demanded that this person has been, BBC refused to name this person. The person must be named because he is being funded by the government, by the people. So if you are to form a political party and the government have a budget in place, some kind of budget must be in place. The rest should be raised by the party and its supporters. But the government shall have regulations in place to support this party. That's the only way the party will exist. And the party will be regulated. As long those things don't happen, it will be political party here and there. And anybody can come tomorrow. If you have now, they say, I heard Moses saying there's a provision list being issued or being let out. Now, tomorrow I can come out and put you guys together, guys. Let's go back and form a political party and name a party because nobody controls us. It's from our pockets. That's how the condition is. That's my take on this, guys.
Yeah,
Good. No.
to just add on to what Jamal said, just a few pieces here and there, right? The thing is, in the West and in most Western countries, for example, like this thing we call lawmakers, right? They have a specific number, for example, that constituent or that municipality have to reach. For example, if it's 50,000 or 100,000 before you entitled to a lawmaker. But like Liberia and many other countries, there are no rules. Sometimes you find 10, 15,000 people gathered together and they want to have a representation. But if you just take into consideration how much that representation going to cost the county, the country. If you take that money, you divert that money and say, okay, Linford want to be a senator or a lawmaker for this constituency that have 25,000 people. Linford entire staff, Linford need a new car, Linford got to have an office, he got police protection, he got X, Y, Z. Before you calculate all those expenditures going to Linford and his team alone, it's almost in $500,000, close to $1 million. But if you take that $500,000 on a yearly basis and say, look, this constituency we divide into 4 different kind of a region. We put a hospital every year. The 500,000 we put a clinic. The next year we take the 500,000 we put into a school. In 5 years' time, you're going to find that same municipality or that constituent that want to have a lawmaker. In 5 years' time, you'll be getting it out of the different, carnage or poverty or whatsoever they've been faced with. But we suffer from the kind of institutional implementation, and at the expense of our people, the few elites, the educated ones, they come from here and they mislead our people without no vision for the country. So, for example, you got 73, I think, representatives, and you got what? You got 30 senators, because the whole number is 103 lawmakers. A country like Liberia, okay, having 103 lawmakers for what? And if you look at 60 to 70% of the country, revenue is going just to paying salary. When are you going to think about infrastructure? So these things, at the end of the day, for me, I put the blame on the international community, their intervention. Like, I think it was John Locke that wrote about, Omer Chomsky wrote about this intervention. Intervention sometimes it doesn't work for the people.
Okay, great. I have a viewer from my side. He's not actually showing on the board yet. He says, let's bring about, and that viewer is J. Yamato Lawrence from Minnesota. He says, let's bring about two-party system to stop the proliferation of political parties and minimize corruption. Do you think if we have two-party system, today we got 20 parties, and we're having a two-party system, you think the 20 parties will dissolve into those 2 parties, supposedly, that we will have, and then that will kind of minimize the number, and then also minimize corruption? Because one of the reasons, somebody mentioned it, Francis mentioned it, one of the reasons why people go into this political game is that they want to be known, they want to be part of the train to take part in this whole political charade where they can get rich overnight. So do you think the idea of 2 parties will help anything?
Yeah,
I think I want to I want to roll back a little bit. At my age, I know a lot about Liberian politics because I have practically been on this radio in Monrovia and other parts of the country, community radios, well over 20 years. I still remember in 2008, that was during the regime of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Mm-hmm.
The CDC by then was in opposition, and then Representative Akaras Gray and the late Muna Pena Youngblood, they proffered a bill, and they named that bill Democracy Subsistence Bill. The intent of that bill was to empower political parties in Liberia based on their performance in national elections. And according to that bill, political parties that score 5% of the total votes in any national elections will have a portion of money in the national budget given to them, and they will make a report to the National Elections Commission how said money is being expended. That document was passed by the lower house, concurred with by the Liberian Senate, but unfortunately, it was rejected by the then president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In her mind, and we read her mind by then, it was believed that she thought political parties would have been in power, especially the CDC, and considering that we had a so-called legend, George Manning Weah, who by then was well loved by the people all over the country. So she thought that would have empowered the CDC to come with a very strong force against her, and it would have jeopardized her re-election bid in 2011. But you are right. Um, Almost all of the political parties in Liberia, I can say for sure, they are running in the pockets of some big politician. That is correct. And that's the reason why these political parties struggle to survive when they are not in state power again. For example, the Unity Party, you would imagine under the Ellen Salif administration, I listened to the former secretary Mo Ali says that the McLean's family that has taken the Unity Party to court, they were given job at the National Oil Company in Nokar, and they were making 30,000 US dollars every month. And that money
Hmm.
was meant to ease the tension so that they will not trouble the Unity Party for rental fee for the building that was being used. Now, the McLean family, considering that Unity Party and the McLean family had gone to court, they are claiming 210,000 United States dollars in rental fee from the Unity Party. And then the court has ruled against the Unity Party and has mandated the party to pay 100,000 upfront and do a follow negotiation in the next 6 months, to the point that a writ of arrest was issued for party officials. So that's how the political parties is. Imagine we have the movement for progressive change is a political party that is being owned as a personal property for Mr. Simeon Freeman. You know, the guy who runs the DSTV program in Liberia, the satellite program in Liberia. If he leaves the stage, what happens to his political party? There's a very big question that we've been asking all around. As I speak to you, Mr. Cummings is heavily sponsoring the CPP. That's a fight. That is a glaring fight. I have been around the ANC, I have been around the CPP, and almost all of the political parties. When there are programs coming up, they look forward to these tender bearers, these political leaders, these founding fathers to show up. I don't remember political party members in Liberia pay membership due. This should be our major problem in our country. In other countries, if you are a member of a political party, something make you a member. You are a due paying member. You are carrying a card. So you can boastfully say that I belong to party X, I belong to party Y. But this is not the case in Liberia. The last time I checked, the CDC conducted something called $1 rally. They said it was meant to establish uh, headquarters in the 15 counties to build offices. That did not materialize. In fact, there was no report given out to their members. So that's how it is in Liberia. Political parties are being operated by few individuals. And when these individuals' pockets run dry, the political parties suffer. Yes, so I support the idea of a national plan where political parties will get something from the national budget based on their performance.
Yeah, Paul, Moses, looking at the bill profited by the Akaros Gray and the late Moon Penner, what do you see that particular bill reoccurring on the Senate on the legislature floor? Because it seems to be a serious concern now that what happened, even with despite being a political party, other aspirant, independent aspirant, become the problem solver in Liberia. Once you have an intention to run for an elected position in the elections, you are always visited. I've seen it in Liberia a couple of times. When I have the intention to run for like District 6 or 17 or 18 or whatever district it is in Liberia, people are always coming to my door for help. What is the problem with that? How can we resolve this issue? Why can we turn this
I tell you what.
dependability? How can we get rid of this
tell you-
dependability and set a system where they can, because you know what happened? They turn these, when these people are elected to offices, they don't care anymore. They begin to rip up. They don't care because what they have already spent, whatever they have spent, they want to get it back because they spent on you.
What is happening in Liberia is something that will tear this country down, and which I don't pray for. In the 2017 election, a particular representative that is now a senatorial candidate in Grand Kitmore County made a public statement that he got elected using his money. So he owes no one any development. So I'm looking forward to a day where we will see Liberians raising money to register a particular candidate for an elected post. By that person becomes accountable to the community. There is one thing that we have also prayed for, that all of the senatorial aspirants, the representative aspirant, and the presidential aspirants, they need to sign a corporate social contract in the form of a memorandum with itemized things that they will do with a timeline. So if you tell us that you will build bridge where there is no water, tell us how long it's going to take you to build that bridge. And if you don't do that bridge, what should we do to you? Then we'll take that document to the probate court, and that document is probated, is signed by you. So we can use that document to remove you from office if you don't do what you have told us to do that is on paper. That's another way. But I am disappointed as a Liberian that Representative Akaras Gray, who proffered this idea to have political parties benefit from the national covers based on their performance, even though his idea was rejected by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, he is now in the driving seat. His ruling party.
No. Let me be the extension. No. But you see, the reason why Moses Gray was making that proposal was that at the time they were in opposition, and probably he thought that if they don't win, that bill will support their party. But now he's there, so he got nothing to fight for.
This is what Moses is saying. I think this is what Moses is saying. Moses to line.
It means that
he can't find
the representative
he can't frustrate the bill. It's understandable.
I'm sure he did not proffer that idea to benefit only the CDC. I'm sure he proffered that idea to benefit all of the parties, including the ruling party. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at what the bill says,
now that he's in the ruling party, you think he's going to support, say, the Unity Party? He's going to proffer a bill that will support Unity Party to come and be strong against him? No, it's understandable.
I think he should.
If the CDC goes into opposition now, you see people like the likes of most of them, if they are saying government, luckily, they will come back with local bills.
Linford, there is a portion in that bill that says once you score below 5% of the election, you are compelled to merge with another party for the next election. So that's a good part of the bill. It helps to reduce.
Yeah, there's a viewer here. Douglas Pelo, he said, I think the bill was calling for the first and second winners to be supported by the national budget. That particular bill you're talking about.
No, I have a copy of the bill. I ran a program called Legislative Spotlight. I was at True FM and Veritas intermittently. That program ran for 4 years, sponsored by USAID. I was the coordinator and presenter. I still have a copy of that bill. It was not restricted to 2 political parties, 2 full runners. It was for all political parties participating in national elections. It says you benefit from the national coffers based on the score that you made. You must have 5% of the total votes or more. That's what it said.
Okay, quickly, gentlemen,
And
we are running
it's
out
a
of
good thing
time.
because it would have reduced the number of
Linford, I want to come into something you said, and which is very important also when it comes to the suggestion you were kind of putting for when the two-party system, right? The two-party system, I believe that it should be extended to, for example, 3 or 4 parties system. Okay, like in the U.S., they got 2 parties in the U.S., which also corrupt a country. The idea 2 parties, they can come to an agreement and hijack that country, and all you think you people got democracy in that country, but with a 3rd party or a 4th party, it make the system very difficult to be corrupt by 2 group of crooks that serve the same
there will be
intention
check
like
and
a money.
balance.
You
Yeah, I
understand? The
understand where
money
you're
got
coming
their
from.
hair in the tail, but other than serve the same purpose is money. So that proposal too need to be looked at by the lawmakers, and the citizens need to call, for example, what we call a referendum on this issue, because if this issue is not addressed, it's going to continue, and the next thing is going to come down to maybe, let's say, Sano County, where you got a crew and a Sapo portion. They want to, go their separate way and have lawmakers. You got 10, 15,000 people gather this place too. Okay, after a certain amount of time, they want to expand. You go to our legislature, start expanding. Within the next 20 or 30 years, we got 200 lawmakers from 103 lawmakers. So there
Yeah,
are
but
certain things that
that
are
would
being
No,
said
no,
depend.
in
let me
the.
let me hold you there, Mark. Mark, let me
Yeah,
That
hold
would
you
depend
there.
on the
yeah,
census,
Moses.
though.
Come in.
Let me hold you there, Mark. There is a law in our constitution that forbids constituency going beyond 100. So we can have as many seats as 100, but you cannot go above. And unsaid you amend the constitution, then you can go for.
Okay,
So in
Meaning
Liberia,
103,
I
you
think
mean the
the
103
information of
lawmakers now.
constituencies. Yeah,
no, we're talking
Moses.
about representative seats.
Yeah, but
For the
I think
senatorial seat, for the
yeah, Moses.
senatorial seat, you
Let me get
have
it. Let me get it past straight, Moses. I think
yeah,
the formation or the creation of constituencies or representative seat will also
yeah,
come as a result of the number of people. If certain area has increased, I think that's the purpose of the census, right? So that
yeah,
Exactly, because what I heard, I think they said above 20,000
yeah,
resident in a particular constituent or
area,
a
yeah,
municipality can come together and request that they want to have a representation to the
right.
legislature. Like in the West here, for example, like Sweden, where I live, I think the number is between 50 to 75,000 before you entitled to a representation to the national legislature. And these people, they have the finance, they have the institutional structure to support these ideology. But in Africa, most especially like what some of you guys been talking about, like membership, and partisan paying membership. Even in the diaspora, yeah, you got most of us talking, we from ANC, we from CDC, we from the other party, but we barely even make that contribution of $50 monthly payment. I mean, people in the diaspora, Moses, that got it better than people in Liberia. Then talk less of the economic hardship in Liberia, where Liberian man setting in the market, like the women registered voters you were reading from, they are more than the men. Where the women would take their little $10, $20 to go buy their child bread, for example, or pay their children's school fee to take the go and pay, membership due for political parties that tomorrow just going to enrich themselves. And the last thing I want to add on, there should be some restriction too, if we want to set the playing field right, that no government, sitting government will use vehicles to campaign or government facility to campaign, we should be also cheating to the other political parties. I think most of you can elaborate on that. If there were laws.
yes.
Yeah.
What you guys have put up this evening, you continue to refresh my mind on almost everything I've been saying in Liberia. Like I said, I've been in this field for more than 20 years. What you just talked about is the National Public Code of Conduct. We have it here. It was passed by the 53rd legislature, and then it was signed by the President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And that code of conduct, it prevents any government official from using public vehicle for campaign purposes. It also prohibits government officials from occupying political parties' positions. It also talks about presidential appointees. It was amended by the legislature in the last 6 months. So the original law said if you are a minister or a director appointed by the president and you wanted to contest, you must resign your position 2 years prior to any elections. But the legislature amended it to 1 year. But unfortunately, the code of conduct cannot be implemented because there is a group that is referred to as the ombudsman. That group is supposed to be established by the president, and that group will enforce the code of conduct to the letter. So in the absence of that group, how do you hold public officials accountable for violating the code of conduct? I remember in February of this year, the president of Liberia issued an executive order mandating all presidential appointees to resign before April 7th, or they will not be allowed to participate in the elections. So some of the presidential appointees refused to resign, and they decided to challenge the president executive order at the level of the Supreme Court. It will interest you to note that the Supreme Court did some hearing and they decided to reserve ruling. But some senior lawyers have already told us that the president executive order will be defeated because his executive order also violates the code of conduct, because his executive order came just within 8 months.
8 months.
8 months to the election.
Instead of 1 year.
Instead of 1 year.
Okay. I think, gentlemen, we see the topic becomes interesting and then the time goes fast. So,
and to just few minutes of Moses, what Moses said, that means to say the whole country.
Is that few minutes, few seconds, please?
Yeah, okay. For example, what you got the president team on legal affair, that means they are not even up to date when it comes to legal matters in the country to to remind the president every time these things unfold. Even the same with the lawmakers who enforce these laws if they are backed by the legislature, and who enforce the law if they are violated. What are the consequences for violating these laws?
Mark, gentlemen, I don't want us to go there, because at that point, I will say to you that past and present government has been rotten to the teeth. Let me say it that way. They've been very toothless, and I like to be frank with this. I speak as a Liberian, and that's why I gave myself the title, the official spokesperson for Liberia, not for government, but for Liberia. There is one authority that the legislature has, and that is oversight. That oversight responsibility is the greatest that can compel the executive to do what is right. When you pass the national budget, the budget becomes a law when the president signs it. It means that every government spending entity must give account of how they use the budget. And that is, they should do something called budget performance report that is done quarterly, every 3 months. But year in, year out, lawmakers in Liberia, they allot money in the budget for ministries and agencies, and then they go after these monies for their personal gain. You listen to the outgoing U.S. Ambassador McCarthy, it was clear. Some of the services that are being provided in Monrovia, you don't find them in the interiors. If I was in Lofa County and I wanted a birth certificate or a wedding certificate, I must come to Monrovia. That is wrong. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf put up a system. She created something called a National Service Center. So every county had a service center that was a one-stop shopping place. You could go to that service center, you get your driver license, you get your birth certificate, you get your national ID, everything. But since the CDC government took over, everything is in rooms. Nothing is organized, and we see nothing going on. Nobody say anything. The president has got legal advisors, but it will interest you to know that under this CDC government, some of the individuals who are appointed by the president, they are merely in those positions, but there are other people who are doing their job. We have seen the maritime. Yeah.
Also, you continue to hold us into new topics, but let's transition.
Okay. I will stop here.
Let's transition to what was discussed. Gentlemen, we see we get 20 political parties, but let's look at the first three front runners. I will start. This is my own opinion. I will start like George Weah. He's the incumbent. Mr. Bwaka, he was former vice president. Mr. Cummings, he's the newcomer on the block. I mean, so to speak. But let's look at Liberia's presidential hopefuls. They are past, the present, and the future. Now, I will categorize these three people into the three categories. Number one, I would say Mr. Bwaka is the past, Mr. George Weah is the present, and Mr. Cummings is the future. And somebody will ask me, why did I put them in those categories? Mr. Bwaka has performed as former vice president. In fact, he has been in government for over 40 years. But his most recent fingerprints can be seen from his position as vice president for 12 years. Now, then Mr. Weah is the present because he's the incumbent. Then Mr. Cummings is the future because he is saying he wants to, he will. Now, but let's look at the three of them. Let's put them on a scale. And this is not intended to bring down any of the gentlemen in question, to bomb off them or whatever, but we just want to know, the voters want to know. And this goes to you voters, people out there who are still confused, who are still undecided. Now, ask yourself, Mr. Bwaka was vice president for 12 years, though we know the power of the vice president is limited to certain things, especially to the legislature, where he is the president, okay? And then he also serves in other capacities, like having responsibility for the group of 77 and other places. Now, but what significant thing can you look at from the unit? Now, I don't want us to treat these people as individuals. We are Cummings and Mr. Bwaka. No, I want them to treat them according to their parties. So what did the United Party do in the past that will convince you Liberian voters to vote for them? Mostly you are representing the voters. Jima, you are representing all the voters in Liberia. And Ma, you are representing all the voters. What did the Unity Party do that will convince you to say, well, I'm going to vote for Unity Party again? Or what let me make a question to so you can answer all two. Or what do you think they want to do that they didn't do in the past? Kick on back.
For me, I was never, a fan of the UP from the day that Ellen Johnson was head of their ticket, because knowing the role that she played in Liberia history, the disgruntled behavior, like what Omegonglo said, no progressive have become president of Liberia. And I told him, I said, no, that is not true. It's not because that Ellen Johnson is a woman, so she's not from the progressive, she's from the progressive. So a progressive have been, being a president in Liberia. But the idea that, this Liberia Sunday we'll talk about the war crime tribunal XYZ, like the American ambassador who pushing all the, Genesis to Revelation in Liberia, their country also is implemented. So there's nothing that the UP government has done for me to say, oh yeah, I can give them another chance in the next 2,000 years to come for them to take the presidency of Liberia, because the mess we're in today, they say if you're a bad player, if you live in a fee, don't never get a good number 10, your substitute just to come and do better than you. So that's exactly what Ellen Johnson did to the Liberian people. Because of her bad performance, she would never wanted, let's say, Bwaka or a Cummings to become president to come and outdo what she did. So that way,
okay, but Joseph Bwaka will argue. I'm still coming to Joseph Bwaka will argue. My party did bad in the past, but I want to come and do so. So what do you think he wants to do?
For me, you can be there taking a salary of almost $1 million a year, and for the past 12 years, you never spoke on anything. If you're a man to say, oh yeah, a man, people say you have integrity. But if you're a man with the heart the Liberian people had, you would have resigned after the first 5 years. If things were not going your way and say, look, this isn't what I signed up for. I go into the private sector and pick my chances in the next coming election. That's what I think the honorable person would have done. But you said that you took almost $1 million a year for 12 years, and later on you want to criticize when the kingdom capsized. You said no, the man or the captain of the kingdom was not a good captain, but you're on the kingdom when the kingdom was sailing.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Jamal, what do you think the UP, we'll come to the other two gentlemen, but what do you think the UP did that will convince Liberians to say, oh yes, let's bring the people back, the people did extremely well? Or what do you think they didn't do that they think they can do now?
Thank you very much. It's a little bit of a difficult and tricky question because if you look at, we just talk about it like in Liberia, political parties have been, it's not an institution. Political parties have been run by individuals. Ellen was heading the Unity Party at the time. And before Ellen joined the Unity Party, she was part of the Liberian Action Party, which is formerly of Jassy Abdo. So there are other things you can't just say Ellen did not do. Ellen set a lot of pace. She came out at a time we have 14 years of war. I'm not a favorite of Ellen, but she set the pace for that country. She may not be 100%, but she did a lot of stuff. We should give her credit. Like most of John mentioned one right now, the service center, which is one we've seen around here in Europe, where if I need a passport, I don't need to go to Monrovia to get a passport. If you're looking at it, I'm looking at it as an institution. If you look at Joseph Barker, that's a different case. You said we should speak as an institution, right? As
Let's look.
If you look at Joseph Barker, that's a different. If you look at the Ambassador Barker, that's a different issue. But if you're looking at a party, I don't want to treat it as a party because the party does not do anything better. It's an individual that take the credit. Ellie is taking the credit for Unity Party. Like this is why the old man said that he was sitting on the race car in the garage. A car that run fast was sitting in the garage, didn't do it. He didn't allow him to run. So he would not be treated as a member of the party, but as an individual. So you see that there's an issue. This is a very tricky question to handle. But if you look at what happened, if you look at how to handle it very well, Unity Party set the pace in our country. Of course, there were a lot of money came in the country that were mishandled. Things are missed with a lot of money that was not spent accordingly. But if you look at it from the 14 years of war, she set a pace for that country. So much you pick it from there. We got relative peace. People are getting salaries on time. If you are getting $50, you're getting on time. A lot of rules.
People should vote them back.
No, I'm not saying that. You're asking me what did they do? I'm trying to do what they do. You can look at it as it's up to you.
The question is
voting is like we vote on. I would say for this, I'll vote for this person. For this, I'll vote for this person. It's not like it's giving me a straight. That's also it's a tricky question to answer. Like if you say that's a little bit tricky question. What I would do if you want to look at it as an institution, well, I'll tell you, the Union Party did not deliver what you expect of them after 14 years of war, and they received a lot of money. And one thing Ellen did, she managed to erase our debts. That lady wanted the president out on the plane every month. Risk our life to go there, talk to people to come to that country. Erase our debt. And according to Prince Johnson, before she left the party. They left some money in the coffers for us. Where's the money? We're even eating our own reserve right now. So I'll give them some flowers, but we expect them more than what they should have done. So that's the problem. So I won't vote them back because they did not deliver in full. If I have to answer your question.
Okay, thank you. Moses, you have been on the ground for years. In fact, all those years. Some of us we never come in and come back. When we can, you tell us, my man, so thing. Then I won't get it back. But you there, tell me, if you are representing all of the voters in Liberia today, and you were giving these two questions. What did the Unity Party do that you think Liberian people should give them another chance? Let's not look at individuals. Or what you think they didn't do that they want to do, for which people should give them the next chance?
Well, for me, I would rather prefer to remain quiet on this one because I have a lot of followers in Liberia. And as a spokesperson for the entire citizen, an attempt to say we flop this way, I'm gonna divert
Okay.
everyone attention
So, Moses,
in
I got a position. We're going to battle with other two gentlemen, Mr. Cummings and Mr. Weir. So we're not going to include you. You are just there. We're going to take telephone call. I want us to make it fast. We got 15 more minutes. But I think Repa will give us 10 minutes extra today. Same with flowing. Let's go, Tima. The next question here is the same question where plans with Mr. Weir. I said we're looking at the past and the present and the future. Let's come to the present. Mr. Weir is the present head of state, okay? What has he done that will make Liberians will say, oh yes, since the American 6 years ago, our life has changed? Or what do you think he has not done that he wants to do in the next 6 years? Just you don't have to. Your answer is not correct. No, it doesn't have to be correct.
It's my opinion. I mean, I agree with you,
right,
my brother. I agree with you. Listen, this is Korea has created many living zombies in our country. The any other person I've ever been living zombies. You see that? That's a fact. Our life has not improved for the years. I mean, I just outlined some highlighted some point where the Ellen Johnson government, Joseph Walker made. Of course, they failed. They made some progress. I told you about that. But come to where? Tell me one that he has done. I can't see any. We have more situation ever. Look at what happened in Bassa. The reception in Bassa alone tells that this guy was to receive when he said that he's coming to his headquarters. People leave as far as Brewerville to walk to his headquarters. But this is a guy that went to the reception was poor as anybody like one of the unknown politicians go to somewhere in Niba County to make a rally. Look what this a turnout was in Bassa, in Grand Bassa last weekend. So definitely I'm telling you, I don't know, because in Liberia we vote on sentiment and emotions. And that is the issue. That's the problem we have as Liberia and the Africa in general. But on the reality on issues, not only on personality, on reality, we have absolutely failed. And I can't vote him. And I can't see anybody voting to power because now looking at it, his government has failed. And examples like what Moses just said that when Akara's Grace came up with a good law that should be implemented, he sat there now in the house for the next 12 years. They're going to another 12 years, 6 years. He has not done anything. He said nothing. Quiet because they're all here in the candy jar. So definitely my answer is no. I can't vote him.
Mark.
Yeah, when Jamal talk about that's his opinion, I respect it. But when he talk about Ellen Johnson to do for Liberia debt to be waived, that would have been the same thing of George Weah had they elected George Weah before Ellen Johnson as the first, soccer player from the continent of Africa. It would have been easy for George Weah to have the Liberia debt to be waived, but being the first elected and soccer player on the continent of Africa, and at that time. That's your opinion, Jamal. That's my opinion. You can say and then two, Ellen Johnson being the first female elected on the continent.
Let me just give my opinion too.
No, let me finish.
You let me finish, my man.
Let me finish.
So Ellen Johnson being the first female elected on the continent also make her to be, the West to be in love with her. So that was easy for her to have the Liberian put debt wave. But the same thing could be said about George Weah to have George Weah being elected at that time too. It would have been easy for Liberia debt to be waived. By that time, you had a lot of peacekeepers on the ground. The international community were active and present in Liberia. But both people, they have failed the Liberian people big time. I can't choose one over the other. Yeah, Ellen Johnson time, the money that will flow in the country, the Weah administration time, the same money is not flowing in the country. All the expatriates that were in the country, most of them left. The 20-some more thousand peacekeepers that were in the country, they were spending no less than 10 or 15% of the money in the country, which was also a boost to the Liberian, revenue. People were buying their girlfriends and things. They were spending here and there, giving their friends and things $5 here and there. So that was a boost to the Liberian economy. When these 20,000 or 30-some more thousand peacekeepers left the country, it caused a ditch in the Liberian economy also. So the Ellen and the George Weah, I can choose one over the other.
Okay, quickly, let's come to Mr. Cummings. He's the future. Mr. Cummings had not worked in government. His fingerprints are not there. Nobody can say, oh, this is what Cummings did for us. But he said he want to make it differently. Why do you think Liberian people should give a man who has not worked in government before a chance to become president? Jima, you want to take it, or Mark, you can start?
Start with Mark. Mark, you want
let Jamal go. I just finished. I can't continue like that. Let Jamal go.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, for me, the good thing is about one thing I love Mr. Comey, and I always I love him, is like he's He's one of the politicians that speaks out very clearly, and he's willing to face whoever you want to ask him any other questions. And then another thing to let you know, I want just to lay my point before I tell you why I want to vote for him. He said like he will turn Liberian budget from 800 million to a billion, and that's the question that he's been asked every day. He's been asked on the radio. That tells you he has a point. He has a plan. You know, the thing we're talking about budget, now we're looking about the speaker talking about the budget of the draft being passed or soon, we'll be going through the budget review. You know, we all talking about money, and laying creating a social welfare system for the country that Liberia will not suffer. This guy has been talking his plan throughout. But one thing I just said, I want to repeat myself. If we look at the plans we have, politicians with ideas, and now with ideas, who can implement it? Comey has been in that limelight. I mean, people will say the difference. Someone will argue the point that there's a difference between government and a corporate system. But you look at it, the similarity is just very thin. The only thing is the country, people of country operate. If you look at the government, ministries are also like departments in various ministries. I mean, a very corporate agency. So Comey he may not physically work as a president of a country. If you look at it comparatively, he's almost a president of a company. We got a budget more than our country of Liberia. This guy won a budget of $1 billion budget. Liberia got 800 million. And not only that, we also have to do with people. Forget about the money, the monetary part, the financial part of it. How do you deal with people? How do you relate with people? How do you deal with your ministry, your various departments to implement those programs? They're where the presidents have challenges. You will cast strikes, demonstrations in the country. Those are the challenges, political challenges a government will face. The same thing happened to corporate government. You face with these strikes from various departments. You know,
Okay.
working also. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, I will give Comey the chance to deliver what he's been preaching.
Okay.
You know, because for the years, I'm coming now. I'm coming. I want to explain why something. For the 2017, he came out with this. Comey has been consistent, following all the way up to today. He's been saying the same thing. If you listen to his speech, the same thing he's been saying all along. And he's saying that he will deliver. And he tells us what he will do in the 100 days. If you listen to our president, Mr. President George Weah, when he gave his inaugural speech, it was vague, empty. Nothing was there to tell you that you can hold on to. There where you will know what they're starting. You know what they call the SMART. Some who have done project management say SMART. You know, so the pest analysis, you know what this guy is telling us. What can we get from here? So you will tell the person 400 days. What are you going to do? And you just heard that the first 100 days. The VSB, Charlene Brownski, will raise $20 million for women. 100 days. And Moses just said that we should hold two politicians to their words. If they don't do, we should take to the court. Those are things are documented. We are a good thing that most of our people stay around, these information around. So this guy has been consistent for the past years. He's going to 12 years saying the same thing. So I believe that he's delivered. Man, this is nothing to talk about. I can stay for hours and hours and tell you why I believe in Cummings, that he will give these things. He was there, a black man to run that corporate. You must have lived here for over 20 years. We know to get to that corporate level, it's not an easy job, my brother. You have to be part of it.
Thank you.
So he's my favorite. Listen, he's my, to conclude, he's my favorite. And I think he will deliver. If he doesn't deliver, we'll hold him accountable. Simple as that.
Okay, Matt. The same question.
I remain with Mr. Cummings today, tomorrow, and the day after, and etc. Because, like Jamal said, Mr. Cummings has been very consistent into his transformation of Liberia and how he's going to do it. Even though during campaign time, there's no politician around the world. I bet anybody that will come out to say, because I hear some people sometimes say, oh, show me Cummings blueprint, show me Cummings X, Y, Z. There's no politician, even the great United States or India with the biggest democracy, the politician have come up to say, okay, this is my blueprint, and this is, how they call it, the bureaucracy that going to govern every institution. You're talking about thousands of tons of volume of different institutions when they put that into writing. But Mr. Cummings has been very consistent as to how he's going to transform Liberia. The only place I got a little problem with when they talk about, how they call it, there's nobody that have talked about assets recovery when it comes to investment, it comes to corruption, it comes to mismanagement, because there are billions of Liberians, billions of US dollars that gone missing from the 12 year of the UP government to this current government. But when they limit their investigation, when I hear people from the ANC camp talking about, when they talk about economic crime code, then they only limited to the WIA camp, then I'm disappointed that it's going to be limited to only the WIA camp. Why not extend this investigation as far back as the LA administration when it comes to asset recovery? So that's the only thing that I got problem with. So corruption, let it be investigated across the board from the UP 12 years to the CDC 6 years. And like Mr. Cummings, look, the money linked for this $1 billion Mr. Cummings talking about is just that when you're a smart person, you know that the money is in the country, but how you're going to generate the revenue and then invest that revenue into the same Liberian people that will create more, that will generate more revenue. And that's how Europe was developed. They started little by little and they invested money. Not just one group of people take the money and consume it. What made Norway to be one of the richest countries? It's not that Norway just sell petrol and the king, the royal family, they take the money and eat the money. No. But Norway is a small country like that. They own a lot of big companies across the globe. Even in America, in Europe, that's one of the things Norway is good at. They take the money and they buy shares in companies. They're not just sitting down for the oil to go dry. Then tomorrow they start looking for again for money. So when Mr. Cummings talking about growing the Liberian economy, he knows what he's talking about. He has gone around the country, done some groundwork and know where he's going to take the money from to invest the money here to develop the lives of Liberian people. But you don't hear these things from the UP camp or from WIA, where say Joseph Baka was sleeping. Every time you put your hand on Joseph Baka was sleeping. These are nonsensical rhetorics that we hear before from the St. George WIA man. So nothing's changed.
Okay. You guys are almost said everything I want to say, and our time is squeezed out. But I will chime in a little bit with the same question. When it comes to the Unity Party government, I think they did well because we just came from war at that time, but they also received megatons of money that they should have done excellently well, but they did well, considering where we came from. At least they were able to patch up some of the roads and then build some new roads and whatever. And the cancellation of our debt was a good start. And for us to come under George Weah government and then go back into debt again, I think this is a disappointment for me, for which I wouldn't want the Liberian people to re-elect George Weah. And there's another thing about this government. No, the rule of law is very weak. A government that lost 4 of its own employees, key employees, auditors, and as we speak, nothing has happened. The government sat there, money went missing, some $16 billion reportedly went missing, nothing happened. They brought investigators, nothing came from out. 3 boys, living human beings that were not sick, somebody contracted them to go work for him, they got missing. That person is going on free foot, nothing happened. So this government is very weak when it comes to security. Every time they are finding their bodies, nothing has happened. I'm not saying that people don't die other parts of the world, but something happens when people die. In Norway, if somebody gets missing, at my workplace 2 weeks ago, soon the morning I saw the police came. They were assembling. When I asked, they said, "Oh, somebody got missing," so they're going to search for the person. Okay, and all of a sudden, a telephone call came that they have found this person. You see it? So, make efforts. So, for the weakness of the government in certain key areas, the economy, security, and all these things, justice system, I think the government should not be voted. When it comes to Mr. Cummings had not worked in government before. Mr. Cummings worked in, I always say, let me tell you, if you take your CV from government and carry it to the private sector, they will ask you why you leaving government to come here. But then if you take your CV from the private sector to go to government, you'll be qualified very quick. Because even that King Ju factory, the guy in Liberia called Nakon, those people can make that King Ju and put in the portal. They are more disciplined more than Liberian government workers. Because those people go to work on time and they do what they're supposed to do. Unlike our government officials, where down to the president does not go to work, he go make music and all these things. That happens nowhere in no good country. So I don't think the CDC government should be voted right now. And Mr. Cummings came from the corporate world, so I think he brings some discipline to the politics in Liberia. And let me tell you one thing. Matt talk about something, or the two of you talk about something, the consistency. Now, George Weah stood before the Liberian people on national television when he came from America, or when you were seeing America, He said, I didn't promise the Liberian people anything, and they voted me. So I know they will vote me again. So it means that he didn't tell the people anything. So we can't hold him accountable. He doesn't owe us anything. Okay? We just voted him out of love. Now, so his failure is our own business. Now, when the last election, Mr. Bwaka was running on ART, A-R-T, agriculture, road, and what the T stand for something. Okay? And he changed it again to A-R-E-S-T, arrest. You see it? So it's
the T was for tourism.
Okay, so you see that he's inconsistent. But go back to Mr. Comey. Mr. Comey has been consistent with his 5 pillars, okay, and the 5 watts and the 5 house. So Mr. Comey has been consistent. He had not added anything. He had not subtracted anything because he didn't win election last time. No.
You're
So
not being fair to her. You're not fair to her. You're talking about individual now. We're talking about party.
No,
so
no,
I don't know why.
Yeah, but sorry that I used the 3 people, the 3 individuals. But let's look. I look at the parties now. But our time is gone. I don't know, Moses. You think you can speak? You can give us.
Moses owe us a lot of time, please. Let Moses don't have any news coming out right now. We got extra 10 more minutes.
Okay, Moses, for the next 10 minutes.
We got commitments with commercials, so I don't know how long we're going to go with this, but
no, just say 2 or 3 calls if they can come in. Just 2 or 3 calls if they can come in. Or if no calls, then I think we'll call it a day. At least it was good that we went constantly today, and we want to thank you, our viewers and our listeners. So Moses try to put a number of 2 or 3 calls only.
Okay, yeah. So if you are listening to Red Power, the program is The Bottom Line, a European-based interactive dialogue program. It's time for you to call. Those of you listening to Red Power now, if you want to you want to make a point, the panelists are listening. The numbers are 0776 824003 0555 514885. So yes, we got 2 numbers to participate, and we got limited time here. I'm sure we have a call here.
Only 3 calls. Only 3 calls.
Have a call. We have a call. Hello.
Yeah, Moses.
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. This is Fala. I'm calling you from Bromville.
Fala who? What's the full name?
Puendo, P-O-I-N-D-O-E.
Okay, Fala Puendo. Go ahead.
Look, Moses, please ask your studio guests. The COVID messages that they're preaching here, they're talking about the failure of Helen government. Who they work with Helen government? Please ask them for being here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think they are listening. Thank you. They will respond. Yeah, they will respond to that. Linford, did you get a question?
I did not really get him.
The question is, if Kumi did not work with the Ellen government, is it?
Yes, that's it. That's the question.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to respond, we can respond to that right now.
Yeah, so if there are calls coming, I will let you know. But no, we got another call coming in.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Moses. How are you? This is Ray. I'm already calling from Pakistan. Right now, I'm in publish.
Your voice sounds like you got cold. You have to be a little loud so we hear you.
I said my name. I already got my name. My name is Tama. There is Tama Morris Checker, and I'm calling from Pakistan. Right now.
Okay, Tamba Morris Fekai.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We got discussed collectively and they are all on track. But my question now is, comments where we're heading. All of the people that we're having the reason where we're heading. What is that difference? What is the difference between it and the heading? That's my question to the panelists. Okay,
so if you got the question, the second caller is saying that the 3 top notch presidential aspirants, they all work for Ellen. Mr. Cummings, yes, serve on the BWI board, and George Weah serve as peace ambassador and appointed position, and then Joseph Bwaka serve as vice president. So what is the difference between these people?
Okay, I think that's a very smart question. Guys, you can go. I will be the last.
You want to talk that, Mark? You want to take on that? If not, I can take it.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Liberian people that, for example, someone sitting in the driving seat and someone being a passenger in the car. The person in the passenger in the car doesn't control that car whatsoever the steering go. The driver in the car, the driver of that car, they don't want to control the car whatsoever that car go. So the failed policy of Liberia being backward is at early on, how they call it, doing. So some of these people were serving on appointed position that she appointed them, but they were not the number one ambassador of that country or the one that make key decision to transform in that country. That's why I will answer that person question with. That's the difference between Ellie and those people.
Thank you very much. In addition to that, if you look at it depends on the position they were holding. You just say you serve as on the board of BWI, that's learning institution. I mean, what influence much does he make in terms of running government in that country? That's another thing. So we're looking at the role he played. If you're like, was he elected to a position like the president right now, who was elected as a senator in most other country, who has authority to make decisions? So he was on the board. He was not one of the ministers. He never worked in the area where he have influence making decisions. So he was just sitting on the board because he was that's institution and a learning institution. So it doesn't have that much of influence that he can make to change directions in Liberia anyway. But whatever we are saying here, we did not say, I particularly did not say Ellen failed. I know absolutely. There were some successes. Even up George, where government has some successes. But outweigh the failure outweighed the success. That's what we're outlining here. So if you're looking at it, that's what we are saying. Give Cummings a chance because he's been consistent with his messages and he knows what he's been doing. And if you look at his past record up to where he is today, he's been making progress so far. It may be some challenges in his life. And this is guy like he has already said this from 2017 up to now. He's saying the same thing. Let hold you accountable for what he's been saying. And Moses, I keep saying I support Moses' statement. Let hold our politicians accountable for what they have said. If they don't do, we'll take them to court and let them be punished for it.
Okay, I think I see Moses is getting around on easy, but let me just chime in for 1 second. To the two callers, your questions were similar, so I will address all two at once. Let me tell you, we may have called individuals named like Ellen, Joshua, and Mr. Boakai, but we are looking at the parties. Okay, we are looking at the parties as an institution that is leading the country. So, if Joshua was appointed, we know Joshua government has had its own failure, but if he was appointed as peace ambassador, and that peace ambassador position is not merely the Liberian government job, it's from the UN. Okay, I think so. The Liberian government may have hand in it. In that person was serving Liberia, but I don't think that's anything that can influence government decision or the position of government. Okay, so
Linford, I just want to weigh in a little bit.
Yeah.
The peace ambassador position, not the one that was given to Ambassador Weah by the UNICEF. He was appointed by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It was a presidential appointee. And then he got money from the national budget to implement programs.
Okay.
Even though we are yet to see those reports.
Okay. So in any case, I don't think George Weah in that position would have told the government do this, do that, do this, when it comes to policy. But when it comes to Ambassador Boakai, yes, he was vice president. But again, we got to look at the position of the vice president in Liberia. The vice president is there just as a helper to the president. So if your boss is saying, let's do this, I know they can argue behind a closed door, but at the end of the day, they have to support each other. If we look at the current, presidential running mates, Charlie Bronsky, Jeremiah Kuhn, and all these people, they are saying, yeah, my boss, you see? So you cannot go the boss policy.
Linford. Yeah. There is no democracy, even in the military regime, that the president doesn't consult the vice president on a lot of issues. 95%
that's what I just said. They will discuss, but at the end of the day, they will go together. The vice president
I just want to buttress what you are saying. And when it comes to the different positions, for example, like what Brother Moses just said, we are, besides being a peace ambassador, he was also appointed. That position, Moses was right. It was an appointed position by Ellen, which he got funding from there, thinking that, okay, he would serve as a peace ambassador to unite the country. And when it comes to Mr. Cummings,
what decision would that George Weah made at that time to influence government's activities?
But that's what makes his government failure, because you were giving money up to now, no report has been seen. Anyway,
and that was one of the skills of Ellen Johnson.
Let's not misuse Moses' time.
Yeah, that was one of the wastefulness of Ellen Johnson administration by giving people money here and there. If you listen to our own vice president, paying people lucrative salary from abroad to enrich
I think
themselves.
she wanted the government to run, but those people did not perform. So
and then by the cause noise in Ellen administration, she gave you position, pay you good salary. That was Ellen's weak skill.
Well, okay, that's your decision.
Can we?
Yeah. But let me go quickly to Mr. Cummings and then we can close up. Mr. Cummings, the reason why Mr. Cummings was appointed to the board of BWI, that's for me. I would consider that a nominal position. Like somebody say, okay, go there and be a fast or go there when anything happens, you can discuss it and come up with policy. That's it. That cannot influence how the government will carry out the justice system or how the government will carry out the judicial system. All these things. No, those are just nominal. It's like, you're supposed to do something, tell your son, say, go there, go help that man so you can fix that, you can clean that place. Simple. So that got nothing to do how you rule. But in any case, those individuals are coming. And that's why I asked a question. Why you think they should be elected? Why you think? So it's left with you voters to read between the line who is doing what and who did what based on which you think you can elect them. Now, the reason here is that the vote that you cast is for yourself. You are not voting these people in to reach them. In politics, there is interest. Do not vote the people for them to go there because you say, oh, I like a person. Ask yourself, what will I get out when I vote? And listen to their policies. So I think, gentlemen, we've taken Moses' time too much. Moses, thank you very much today. I think today was the best time ever we had on the show. And in terms of being on the air and want to tell our viewers and listeners, thank you very much for being there. Because if you are not there, we'll be talking to ourselves. And Moses, we hope the magic you play today, you will continue to play so we can read me on the air. Guys, anybody get quick 30-second closing statement?
I would like to say thank you very much. Probably after this one, I have a meeting with Moses on regard to future working relationship with the Red Power. But anyway, thank you very much for sitting there for us. And we want to say those who be listening, thanks for listening. You didn't have a chance to call it to ask questions and you listen to us. And we appreciate it. And this is the Born in Liberia. We are here for you. And this is all about Liberia. Thank you. And thanks for having us.
I just want to say, big thanks to Moses because I've been very disappointed in the Red Power FM and I came with a lot of rage. But from what happened tonight, I hope you play that magic again. But it's been a very disappointing from the Red Power FM position because we had an agreement. They should abide by that agreement. They should respect that agreement. So that has been my disappointment. But Moses, thank you for being in the studio tonight. And I hope your magic fingers will work the next coming Tuesday.
Okay, Moses, thank you very much. I got nothing much to say. My Liberian people, thank you for listening. When you go vote, you should listen to the people. What they put telling you, then you vote for them. Don't vote for the man because you like him. You like a man not like you. That means you don't like yourself. The first law of nature says, love yourself first, before you can love even your girlfriend. Thanks a lot. And we want to say bye to you, Moses. And our gentlemen will continue the show for the next 10-15 minutes, and then we'll be closing up. So, Moses, thank you, and thanks to our listeners. Okay, guys. I think
we are off air, right?
No, we stay on air.
No, we stay on air. We stay on the.
We got 15 more minutes on our own show. We off air in Liberia. We are on air on the Facebook and YouTube. So,
so that was it. You listen to all of us our views on the issue with the presidential aspirants and also the issue about so many political parties coming in. And I think one of the things that I walked away with from the first discussion about the number of political parties is one, and walk away with a few things. But the first one is people are coming into this thing for their personal reasons. Because tell me, like one of us said, a small country like this, why do you think 20 people, why these 20 people cannot put their ideas together, even if it will be 5 groups at the end of the day. But 20 people, what's so much that John Brown got to offer that America cannot offer, that 2 of them cannot agree to offer together, that all 20 people will have to come. So that's one of the things I walk away with. And then we also talked about if we can make legislation. I think that would be important to limit the number of people running for president. That's not the only job. And the thing that amazes me is that some of these people are professional people. They leave that profession that will help improve Liberia to come to only be president. Okay, so I think there should be legislation. Yeah.
I think they should, if they ask them the conditions, terms and conditions set aside to that's to regulate or to make them
Mhm.
who want to run. Like for instance, if you ask a candidate, if you a party you want to run for the presidency, you should have to raise 500,000. Nobody gonna run.
Someone
No,
will go
nobody
credit
gonna.
money.
No, they're
Some,
gonna go run because the first
no,
that
someone
money
now
will
go
be
mortgage. You see why the vice president almost reportedly
no
did?
500,000, 500,000. You know what we'll do with that money? There'll be a special agency set aside. Those money collected from the aspirants will be used for specific project in Liberia, like what this guy was saying, Mark was saying, that these like hospitals, clinics, other social needs for Liberian group of people like handicaps. A special agency will be set aside to make use of those funds. Those funds will be taken from the aspirant. Each aspirant should get 500,000 US dollars as a starting fee, a registration fee for the presidency, and that includes other conditions. And not
And
only
it
that,
cannot
Liberia
it's
Amen.
non-refundable.
The county
not
development,
refundable.
the county development fund money. When last have you heard any government institution that is in charge to say, let us go to Senator Linford was giving 300,000 for Nima County or for Ganta or for Seglepi, whatsoever he representing? How did Linford spend that $300,000 for county development fund or in Sano County or in Grand Jide? When last have you people heard this kind of thing to happen in our country? So it tells you that this country, first of all, these so-called educated guys will play on the intelligence of our people to say vote for me, but just to enrich their own family. And two, look, I said this for many years. Liberia from the day one, that country should have been placed under some trusteeship by the ECOWAS, because the only effective group that went in our country to restore peace in our country a little bit was ECOWAS. But when ECOWAS, the international community now from outside Africa stepped in, then Liberia problem got more worse and worse until Sweden, Denmark, America, they all descended multinational force in the country, which was not a bad thing. But the main problem in our country were these same political parties that have expanded. Before, I think there were 12 political parties. Now the 12 political parties before the war, they now tend to hammer. They now tend to 28 political parties. Now, pretty soon there will be almost 50 in our country. Where is the country going? None of these people got vision for that country. You get some of them, some of these people that want to be president, send some of them to these counties and get them $5 million. Say, yeah, $5 million every year we'll give you for the counties. You find out they won't even put a clinic in those counties. And these people want to be president in our country.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about enriching themselves, and that's why they find it lucrative, And
Look,
actually,
Linford and Jamal, this is my thought, my thinking, right? For me in our country, you bring some kind of military rule in our country, they 103 lawmakers, you dissolve all of them. Every county, 2 senators, 2 representatives. End of the story from that 103, you reduce in that 15 counties we got, right? That 15 counties, every county got 2 senators, 1 senator, 2 representatives. 1 senator, 2 representatives, you reduce that number to 45. And all the other one that you dissolve, let that 500,000 or 700,000 that you spend on that lawmaker, let it go into the same municipality or those constituencies. This year, the 700,000 is going towards a 10-bedroom clinic. The next year, the other 700,000 is going towards another clinic. Before you go low,
yeah,
your
but
forest
you see,
counties with 4 different
the
clinics.
problem that will arise, from what you're talking, Mark, it's a good idea, but I can see another problem coming.
You
And that
need
problem is,
radical approach, my brother Linford. You don't just let me learn my thought. You need radical approach to move that country forward. You see, when Paul Kagame went to Rwanda, first of all, he used radical approach, but softly until he got the people on his side. The first thing you need to do, win the mind of the people on your side. How you win the mind of the people on your side? For example, you look at places like Lokintown, you look at Pinsville, you look at all those surrounding areas. Red Mosorado County alone, I think they got almost 28 lawmakers. Why my Mosorado County alone got 28 lawmakers? Dissolve some other area, then the same time you dissolving there, you said, look, for example, places like district number 10. I like Yeke Koluba, but I just using example now or figuratively. You look at district number 10, Yeke Koluba and whole
Moseville
team
district, number
that
8.
how they
Number
call
10.
it, $700,000 going towards them, or Akara Green, you know, district at 700,000. You take that 700,000, you put a modern clinic down where that's on a 15-bedroom clinic. and see if the people that you took that lawmaker seat from, if they will protest it, why you took the lawmaker seat. You have to look at the clinic and look at what you take from them compared to that clinic. You tell the people, you find out most counties or most constituencies will council, my man, yeah, we want lawmaker, we want clinic too. They will protest. They'll say, we want lawmaker, one clinic. The next thing you put school, high school, for example, say instead of your children taking buses or how they call it, say, taxi to go from one place to another, you put a decent building in that same area. You find some counties will start protesting and say, oh, but why you dissolve the other people you put in a good school in their constituency and their district and stuff? We too, we want lawmaker. But if you take that kind of approach and you're not spending the people money back on them and you say, oh yeah, you eat the money, then the people will turn on you.
Yeah, good idea.
It's a sad story to see that we're going through these kind of stuff in our country. And most of our time, people turn to be beggars. And now going to every politician doorstep asking them for money. My child does not have school fee.
Some of the people that lawmakers from the southeast, most of them they ain't get even 15 houses in this. They ain't get 15 place they ain't get 15 houses in the southeast. They barely go to the southeast. Sometimes one time in a year before they go there. Your whole senator, your whole representative, they barely go there.
And the reason why these senators and representatives become powerful is the mindset of our people. The voters, that's why I was telling them, in politics, do not vote these people because you like them. How you elect somebody to go and be richer than you, and you remain the same, and you always begging them. Because every morning you see how people go stand to the gate.
But say, one thing you don't know, Pauline, sorry for interrupting you. One thing you don't know is the souls, the funds. They don't have money. There's a person, the system, the way the system is built in Liberia, you and myself have a supporting system. Whereas if you go out of work right now, the government put a fund for you, you got some support until you get on your feet. That is not happening in Liberia. We help one another from various pockets. You go your question going down, give you something to survive on. You know very well, you go to a lawmaker doorstep, you give you something. So you got to give him your vote. So that's how it works. So if the government are putting a structure in place, a system in place where a social system should be in place to help those needy, those in need, or others to be encouraged to go to job, those able-bodied people should go to job, find something for them. Those who want to work, those who want to find businesses, you help to support them. That social system should be set up in place. Then you talk about this is why you reduce begging, reduce liability. If you have not dependability, if you don't reduce that, you will stay turned to go and beg these guys who want to run for offices. That's what Moses said to you here.
You want to agree to right now. You want to agree to Mark's point that because
Mark's saying the right thing.
Yeah, the reason why I'm blaming the voters is that Mr. X was voted with the hope that he received the county development from a district development from because they got special money that is allocated for that district. Okay, now with the hope that he will use this money to better the lives of the people, but he will take that money and put it in his pocket, and then he make the people to go stand there and he be dishing it out to them. But if these people will say no, you try the first time, we can make it. But these people will go for the second time to force somebody to for the second time. So then who you blame?
Yeah, don't forget to know that how you got there. You said Moses said to you right now, some of the guy was saying he used his own money to get there. Nobody support them with money. They go all around looking for money to run their campaigns. I told you one time, I was in Liberia in 2015 up to the election period. I went to a friend who was running for a seat in his house early in the morning, as early as 6 in the morning. His gate was packed, jam-packed, people queue up to asking him for money. And when one of the guys in the community came, he said, why are you showing up like this, asking this guy for money? They said, yeah, because when we have intention, you become the problem solver. So at the end of the day, when he wins the seat, what do you think he will do? What are you going to do? He'll get his money back. He's not going to look at you again. Why are you coming to his front door? He's passing at the back before he's from the back door. He don't want to see you anymore. That money he's using to spend on you, you're going to spend it because he's already spent on you. So the system needs to be from the low. We have to lay the foundation. The government need to lay a social system where those who need help need to be helped. They won't be dependent on these politicians. But if you don't do that, we'll keep going and asking them for money, for help. Of course, we ask one another, like in the African system. If you can help me, I pass by.
Your children and bonjour in classroom, 50, 60 children in a classroom. Then you're voting for a lawmaker who taking he and a whole entire staff taking $500,000 home.
Yeah. So in other words, Mike and Jima, in other words, are we saying that the government, one way the government could stop this thing is not to give these people that funds, that particular fund that they sort of lose. Let government just stop it. You work as lawmaker,
county development. That only in Liberia where you have county carry on development. I mean lawmakers. I think now that lawmakers position to carry on development anywhere.
Ministry,
Government
they got ministry that carry,
responsibility.
yeah.
But that's why I say the government also encourages that, because if the government is giving that money to them, then they will say, okay, all my money I spent during campaign time, when I get the money, I'll replenish it. But if government stop it, you will see that people will not be wanting. Will not be
One
wanting.
of the way the government can stop that thing is by asking for receipt on every dime and nickel spent. If you don't give account of it, you'll be arrested and you sentenced to prison. That one of the way government can make sure that our money is used the rightful way. You must give account.
That's a radical approach towards corruption. You know, that's a radical approach towards corruption. That you hold these people accountable, but government say, okay, Peter Mary can't take all the money, go do development.
How would the government ask them when the government himself is pinching some of the money? He were to give
exactly when the government says a criminal government.
They will ask you to give 500,000, to give you 200,000, keep the 300,000.
Yeah, they did the 300,000.
You will give account.
Our viewers, I don't know if we bore you, but these are the problems with Liberia. And Liberia is like one old car. When the engine making noise, you take it to mechanic. When they work on the farm, then before you leave the tire box, you put new tire there, then they fan back out. Then you get gas. So, you know, the problem is so big, my man. You want to attack it this way, then one kind again. We're looking at the justice system, it's not correct. But then at the same time, the economy too not correct. Then so how the judges cannot be corrupt? That if there's a case involving a rich guy, that they can't say bribe.
You know, one Pape said something one time. The Pape said, look, the reason why Africa and South America will continue to have problems, because once you people don't have problem, for example, like the group we call the Red Cross, the other agency, the people then they will not have no work. So for that reason, some of you people, you got a solution to solving your country problem, but it will never be welcome, because then where will the people that call themselves so and so from this other organization, the other NGO, that other NGO, they won't get no work to do. So for that reason, you will continue have
Yeah, Ukraine is not Africa. Ukraine, they having war there. All the NGO going there. So you know,
all the NGO going there.
Yeah, but the thing here is people got to have work to do, and so there will all be conflict everywhere. And the thing that let me tell you, sometimes your blessing is your curse. So our the resources that Africa got, I think, is the curse for Africa, because everybody want to get a piece of it, whether legally or illegally. But I think, guys, we are spending time well, and
Jeremy, you're good now, man. The show was nice.
The Liberia will talk about we can solve all the problems, because we're talking now. All people say, "Oh, I'll do that." When they can't, we know what to do. So,
Liberia, if you talk about Liberia until the people find water on Mars, you'll never find a solution to Liberia.
I tell you, but we hope that it can be fixed. So I want to say to you,
you're good night, guys. You're good night.
And the next time we'll be on Friday. With a fresh edition of the program. So thanks a lot, Jima, Mark, and to myself too, and to our viewers. Normally I like our viewers, because whether we are interested in them or not, they want to listen to what we say. And I think it makes sense.
Before we go, I got a quick review of the listeners for I told you before. Just give me a few minutes. Let me go through them quickly. We have from the month of June up to the middle of July, we have, I'll just get a little bit of information for our listeners I have here from, 1 second, where our viewers. Our viewer something, just give me 1 second. Facebook gave us some information. Most of our listeners, 31.8% came from the Liberia. Yeah, we got like 3.4% from the UK. Brooklyn Park, that's in Brooklyn Park. That's not Minnesota. That's 1.4%. They got Columbia. They got Maryland. That's 1.4%. Got Houston, Texas. Got 1.4. Got Mont Laurier. That's New Jersey. That's 1.4. Got Nicosia. That's 1.4. Philadelphia 1.4.
Wow.
Smyrna 1.4. Trenton, New Jersey 1.4. At other countries like United States top the list at 9.2%. There we got listeners, followed by Liberia, 5.1% listeners. We got like UK came third, 8.1%. Cyprus, can you imagine? 2.7%. Norway came neck to neck with Cyprus, 2.7%. We got Ghana. Can you imagine? Ghana got 1.4%. This country is not in the US, outside USA. In Africa, Ghana came 1.4% listeners from Ghana that listen to us, follow us on the Facebook. And also we got listeners from United Arab Emirates.
Wow.
1.1 tie with Ghana. We got listeners also from Ireland, Kenya, the Netherlands. Those are the top countries that I've had listeners for. Just to give you that's a Facebook statistics of our listeners, those that follow us for the past month. So we'll be giving you a review of those that follow us. Everyone that listen to us, they always send us those statistics. And so on the list, America top list, followed by Liberia, and third is UK. Fourth is Cyprus and Norway tie. So that's a breakdown.
We let us say a big thank you to our viewers. Don't get discouraged. We're getting there, and let me tell you, our viewers, you guys are organic. I mean, real living human being that when you cut the blood with kind, a real human being, and I know
they are the loyal people. So we know
loyal people because you sit there and we talk for complete 2 hours, and you are so patient with us. We want to say thank you. And after
what you want to say is special people like Miata Stella Herring, Miata Dakina, and Charlie Brown, Charlie Play, always there with us. From the start, she's been there.
Alice Nimler is here today too. Emmanuel, I know say flan or flan. Emmanuel is always here too.
We got another newcomer on the block. G. Gwen Jones Smith is also here. And also, Miata Emmanuel Faflin.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. And I will say thank you for all those who didn't have the chance to make comment and you've been following us on the radio, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We say a big thank you to you.
And you talked about Minnesota. My former workmate from the radio station Liberia, Minnesota, Yamento Lawrence, he made a comment that we should introduce.
Thank you very much for joining us. So we say a big thank you to you. We are not always perfect. We say what we want to say in order because we're passionate about Liberia. We want our country to be fixed. When you're living outside, you see other countries, looking good and somebody want yours to be like that. This is why we sit there. It's from our bottom of our heart with no partisan politics. And thank you very much for following. Thanks to Lynn for joining me from Norway.
Thank you, Jima.
Yeah, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
So today I'm not too. Our Mr. Paul is not here, so I'll just look for something to take us home.
Sunday. I could try and see if I can send you home with something. Paul, by the way, Paul is me following us in Paul is actually out of the country right now. Paul going to be away. He's going to be catching on once in a while, but Paul is not going to be off for a couple of weeks. And let's see what Paul always says. He may go lazy. Paul used to always give us something. Today
there is some ABC song here. I think let's play the ABC song.
Is that the ball from King Dennis?
Sonic, well, I don't know, but it's weird that it's ABC song. But let me just click on it. See
oh, okay.
Yeah, let me see what it sounds like.
What he had mandated to restore hope and change for Liberians. For many Liberians, especially the youth, he represented the possibility of a brighter future. Unfortunately, these last 5 years have seen a rapid decline in almost all aspects of national life.
Yeah, it's about King Kwa the boss poor, et pas de Yemen.
The country is poor. The country is poor. The country is poor. The country is poor.
The country is poor. The country is facing. 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 The country is poor. The country is facing.
Change your soul, burn it, change your soul. Change your soul, burn it, change your soul. Look change your soul, paso change your soul. Nima change your soul, Dreku change your soul. Change your soul, burn it, change your soul. Change your soul, burn it, change your soul. Nima Paso chévere de azón, que escuché de azón. The country is far.